Pretty calm person.
All right, 3, 2.
No moving target. We're here with Jay-Z Enterprises, my good friend John Zamco. He's gonna be letting us shoot the Byrna launcher. I've never shot one before, specifically. Cameron, have you ever heard about it?
No, not until today, but I'm super excited.
Non-lethal. We're gonna hear more about it, so yeah, check it out.
We basically have two different models of the pistol launchers. These are not firearms, and they are designed to be less lethal. This is the SD self-defense model, and this is the LE. You can see a little bit longer, slightly different sights, but they all operate very much the same. What we'll be shooting and what we recommend shooting for training and most use cases is a kinetic round, which is a 68 caliber hard plastic projectile. It'll be coming out of these about 300 to 400 feet per second.
Got it.
It is designed to create pain.
That'll leave a nice bruise, nice
Exactly.
That'll stop you.
Exactly.
No tools.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, because it is not a firearm, firearm laws, don't particularly apply.
Sure.
You still want to treat it like a firearm.
Absolutely.
Knowing whether it's loaded, treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Know, what's your target, finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target, know your target and what's behind it. Yeah. All of those other details that we're going to use today. In case you didn't see it when you were doing the sign-in, this is
Oh yeah.
and you'll have a digital of this, so you can post it up. Byrna lets us use these. That is 60 feet with that round.
That's
through a t-shirt.
300 feet per second?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, so who would like to go first?
All right.
Okay. So you know what? Let's do this. This one's already loaded, but let's go through
The loading process?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So you guys watched the Sheriff Mark Lamb video, and so he's already showing you some of this. This one, I don't want to muzzle our cameraman.
No, you're good.
It's all good.
But each one of the magazines actually comes with an Allen key built in, which is excellent design. That was the thing.
Is that going to pressurize the gun?
It actually will seat the CO2 cartridge.
Got it.
It is not pressurized until the first time you pull the
So you
trigger.
actually pull the trigger.
Exactly.
That's
so
amazing.
that charge comes, hence the 315 to 320 out that first.
Exactly.
poke.
And you
Got it.
also can, have it in your back pocket, for months at a time.
Yeah.
And it's fully charged, ready to go.
Yeah.
So likewise,
I
you
love how
have
you just literally pulled it out of your back pocket.
Here we go.
truth in advertising.
Yeah.
So these are the 12 gram CO2 cylinders, and that's just going to deposit right in there.
Love it.
And then we'll put the cap on, and then you simply just seat it nice and snug. Boom. The thing that we really liked about the Byrna is this is ready to go.
Yeah.
You take it off a safe, you pull the trigger when the magazine's in, you have rounds in.
Yeah.
The first trigger pull, it's sending a projectile down range. Let's go over here.
All right.
All right. Range is live. All right. Okay. So who's gonna fire first? Okay.
That was 6.
Put it on safe.
That person,
We're counting.
that person ain't gonna be happy.
No.
Oh, that felt good. Like it felt really good. I've shot a 45, shot my 9mm. That actually is pleasing to play with. It's crazy how it feels very much like shooting an actual, like a low caliber.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the kickback, but there's no pattern.
You're gonna stop somebody from.
You actually bring up an excellent thing because we're all pretty big guys.
Yeah.
We have a young lady here
who
routinely carries one of the Byrna SDs.
Yeah.
And she's more petite than we are.
Oh, yeah.
But wholly fierce.
No,
so let's back up a little bit.
Yeah,
We'll put her on the line.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I will remind you, I have an injured wrist right now, but I'm not afraid of this thing because I know how it feels. There we go.
Yeah, that last pop without a round behind it almost sounds like the days of paintball.
100%, man. It makes me want to play paintball. I can work you like. All right.
As you're working with the 88, you are going to change magazines, and a mag change literally
pop.
that it. So you can actually have kinetic in one, and then chemical in another. Gabby, would you like to come up here? That is a silly question.
Now this is my first time shooting this one as well.
Oh.
And she's a lefty.
I'm not going to tell you this, but it's fun. Okay, well let's pivot over into the podcast studio and talk. Sounds good. Welcome to the Cam and Joe Show. I'm with my good friend Cameron.
Good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm better than blessed. I'm happy to be here with our new friend. We have Jay-Z in the studio.
Jay-Z Enterprises.
Do you want to give give him the official shout out and who we're sitting with?
Yeah, so we're sitting with a good friend, John Zamco. He been doing technology for a while. Former vet, always a vet.
Yeah.
And
thank you for your service.
Yeah, man, it's
a pleasure.
Your story is always amazing. I love hearing you talk. He's one of my favorite people. When I come to church, he's somebody I always look forward to talking with. But he's selling this beautiful launcher called a Byrna, and we actually got to shoot it.
That was the best part of my day. That was so stinking cool.
Awesome.
From the Byrna, the pistol, and the M4. That was I did not think I was going to be able to shoot an M4 today, and let alone in the middle of a church.
So
legally and on the friendly side.
Legally and on the friendly side.
Absolutely.
So
tell us, man. Tell us about the journey.
Well, you know what? I mean, the whole Byrna product, we did not anticipate getting into a new business. It was actually one of our son-in-laws that was talking about wanting to get a pistol for home defense.
Yeah.
And, which is great. We've got a lot of weapons, but he lives in an apartment complex. And I was like, and even knowing the layout, and everything else, and wanting to be a good neighbor, and so I actually started looking for less lethal 12 gauge rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then because Byrna does make them, that led me to the launcher. And I mean, as you said, prior military, doing security work and other things like that, I've carried a sidearm for better part of 40 years. And it just kind of seemed like the missing piece of the puzzle to me, as far as the ability to not only defend ourselves, but teach other people to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've used pepper sprays, we've used contact tasers, we've used, Taser X26, all great products. But each one, as with anything, has areas that it works better, and areas that might not work so well. So with this, literally you can reach out with a less lethal, projectile. In this case, we're talking mainly kinetic projectiles for our experience, and 50 feet, you can impact them to a degree that they probably won't want to continue coming towards you.
The art of dissuasion, if you would. Yeah.
I mean,
giving them lots of reasons to not engage.
Well, I like that it also continues a conversation later. Mm-hmm. It's not an end.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that's the hard part when you get into a lot of gun safety.
Yeah.
You get into self-defense. It's at what far's too far. You can't unpull the trigger.
Absolutely.
You can't reverse time and wish that the scenario didn't happen. Mm-hmm. This, I like the fact that it's something that you can have a conversation later, and it can, maybe make somebody rethink something.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that was actually, part of the motivating factor as well, is the adage of when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Yep. I've heard that before.
You know, and that can apply in many different parts of our lives, right? As parents, we learn different techniques to be better parents. But this as well, you know, to be able to have a device that, you know, is not designed to kill.
Yeah.
You know, and yet, and of course, California is a unique area of the United States, and there's a lot of things put in place to try and help protect people that sometimes limits people who are
Their
abiding.
ability to protect themselves.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so that's for another show, I'm sure.
Hey, speak freely.
But you know, the main thing here is this is not a firearm. It looks like a firearm.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not a firearm, you know, and therefore the licensing and the ability to conceal, obviously, you know, I'm not a legal person,
Sure.
not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm not a law enforcement professional.
Sure.
People need to find out, you know, about their own jurisdictions and their own legality, you know. But as far as you only need to be 18 to purchase this,
Yeah.
you know, and this is something that literally I can send our daughters with, you know, to a location, or if they're doing house sitting or something else like that, and they can have it as a means to defend themselves, you know, and that's been very powerful and comforting for all of us. Some people, you know, throughout the years have said, well, you know, do you carry a gun because you're scared? You know, do you carry a Byrna because you're scared? And I really wrestled with that, you know.
Sure.
I'm like, no, but I completely believe in being prepared.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, you have things like sit on your heart,
Yeah.
and then you get something that's smarter than you
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
in a response. And so just recently, and hopefully I can get this right, just recently, the idea of, well, you know, many of us drive and yet we wear seatbelts.
Yeah. No, precisely.
So funny you said that, because literally the analogy I just came up with that I was going to say when you were done was, are you scared when you wear your seatbelt? No, it's preventative. The hope is that you never have to get, you know, you never have to cut it off in an emergency, but it's there if you need it,
Right.
not because you're scared.
Statistically, and those of us that have been in healthcare,
Yeah.
you know, when you do get in an accident, because it's more of a when than an if,
Yeah. Correct.
you know, those people who have seatbelts and are wearing them will fare better most of the time.
Absolutely.
Now that also applies to this, you know, just purchasing it and sticking it in your nightstand, you
Sure.
know, is not going to work, you know, but is it fun to train with?
Oh, that was awesome.
It was so much fun.
That was awesome.
It made me think of back when we used to paintball.
Yes.
It just
Yeah, it
made
made me think of Pastor Thad and all those times out in Yuba County and going home with welts.
I
Because
luckily
somebody
never.
had their PSI cranked up too high. Or,
Right.
Was it with you? We were in the snow. I went paintball.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
With the
uh-huh.
paintball
Yep. Yeah,
started
and they were starting to
freezing.
freeze.
Hard, yeah.
Those
Bad day.
that bruise that you have on there, straight up, I had one
That was
on
a
my
bad
back.
day.
Ugh.
Yes, yes. And you're
Great
wearing
time.
multiple layers.
Yes.
You know,
Bad day,
but-
great time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I like that it's usable. It's not scary. At the same time, it can also take a situation that can become nasty.
Correct.
And I think it balances the playing field. I mean, because
Yeah.
often what we're looking at, I mean, what is it in education? People are looking for equal opportunities, right? When it comes to life, we're looking at how can we help bring and elevate everybody to the same playing field. Well, as soon as you bring a gun into it, it scares people. They're like, that's it going beyond the playing field, you know, an escalation. This is balancing the playing field. And I think, like you said,
I like that.
it balances everything out to where you're not concerned. I mean, having something eating at the back of your head, no matter, or in the back of your mind, no matter what it is, to me, is something that needs to be addressed so that you can function in other parts of your life. That's taking energy. And I mean, how many kids do you have?
5.
Five.
My wife and I are blessed with 5 daughters.
So 5 daughters.
Daughters.
5 daughters.
Of course you do this.
You know what I mean? Like this is.
If I had 3 daughters, I'd be doing this with you.
If you had 1 daughter, you
Which
well,
I
you
do.
You know-
Which I do, which is why I'm going to be a consumer.
He's like, yeah. So I got her this gift. You're like, bro,
Yep.
she's 2. It'll be fine.
Hey, we'll grow into
It'll
it.
be exactly.
We'll grow into it together. Okay. How many years now have you been a with Byrna in general?
This is actually our first year.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is our first year.
Wow, you know your craft well already. That's
well,
impressive.
You know, we looked at a lot of different, once I found this, you know, wanting to be a well-informed purchaser and everything else. And I had no desire to start a business.
Yeah.
But once we looked at the field of what was available, you know, and like you said, you were talking about paintball and people cranking up the PSI and everything else like that.
Yeah.
You know, I like the product because it is uniform, it is stable.
Yeah.
You know, and if you need to pull this out, there's nothing else to do. You pull it out.
Yeah.
It feels like a handgun. All of your training is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no extra steps. There's no popping the bottom. There's no twisting.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. And I know there's a lot of other manufacturers out there that have different styles. What we found actually after we had purchased this was you can put one of these in a book bag and a laptop case.
Yeah.
And because of its design, you're not going to accidentally, you know, engage that cylinder.
Correct.
Puncture the cartridge.
Exactly, because as you know and as you experienced, the cartridge remains unpierced until the first time you pull the trigger.
Yeah. Nice
you know,
and safe in there. Nice and
exactly.
tight. Yeah.
You know, so that was a real plus for us. But like I said, all the features that you experienced, we immediately started sharing it with people. And you find something you like, you share it with people.
You want to share it.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, looking at this in just a different way, I'm thinking of education. Like, I grew up with guns. My dad was a gunsmith. I mean, it's one of my oldest memories is watching Rambo loading shotgun shells. That's straight up one of my memories.
That's awesome.
And so when I grew up around it, and so when people were always scared of guns, I didn't get it. And then when I got into the medical field and I started seeing the results of unstable people, right? Again, you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I started seeing the counteracting of that. But then it created a fear where so much so where most people they don't talk about guns, they don't bring it up. It's a no-no word, it's a no-no thing.
Yeah.
I look at this as something that could educate people and bring them back in toward, because this is a perfect way to educate somebody on actually handgun etiquette, how to properly hold it, how to stow it, safety, without knowing you're going to hurt somebody. It's to me a beautiful blending place for that.
And in addition to that, all the rounds are reusable, so you're not having to squeeze off 25 at the range, and you just spent $30 in California.
Yeah.
And sure, you got a little bit better at your SIG, but now you're $30 deeper into the hole.
Yeah,
so on and so forth, right?
and you have to go and buy more
Yeah,
ammo.
and your membership
and
fees and everything
make
else.
Sure that make sure that you're authorized to buy ammo and all
when you
those
can
other
get
things.
it, if you can get it,
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. So
this is awesome.
we use the capture targets, you know, that they have.
Oh, that's great. That was great.
Yeah, and while I mean, we encourage people to go to the website.
Yeah.
We encourage people to go to at Byrna Nation, which is on YouTube. And the great thing there is you're going to see a lot of testimonials and a lot of first-person scenarios of either having to use it or simply displaying it, because
The deterrent behind the display.
we're looking for de-escalation tools. You know,
And you got one.
Yeah.
As soon as that, oh yeah,
You're like,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's a great
Whoa!
story on
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'm gonna turn around.
There's a great story on there, you know, of a big guy who, I mean, who in their right mind, key point, who in their right mind would mess with him, and yet, you know, he had some guy who was aggressively coming after him, you know, so whether he didn't injure himself, he didn't injure the other person, he simply reached for his Byrna, and the guy immediately came to his senses and disengaged. The authorities were called. And it's just story after story after story. It was the stories that sold us in getting that first one. You know, you saw one of our daughters actually fire everything, and she enjoys it very much. You know, when the girls come over, you know, we've got one of the targets out and back, and you know they'll go out there and you know shoot for points. You know, you notice the different pockets of points. And, you know, so they have a lot of fun with that. But she's a very petite young lady. And so it doesn't overpower her. I can't tell you the number of times that, you know, we've gone to CCW certifications or things like that. And respectfully, little old lady, you know, pulls out her 38 stub nose, you know, that kicks like a horse, you know, and she's like, I hate shooting this thing, you know, but I need it for self-protection, you know. And so we've had so many people, you know, that just are different body styles, different age groups, everything else that have shot the Byrna. And they're like, I like that. Yeah. You know, it feels good. It's not loud. There's no kick. I don't have to wear ear protection.
Well, then even those, I'm guessing ballistic plastics that they have on there, those things are incredible. And then you were saying, and I know you had some over there, but the chemical ones, which ones are those specific? I'm curious about those.
So the,
Just make sure not to pop it or drop it. No, I'm just kidding.
yes.
I don't.
True story.
True story.
I know.
I can tell you stories about that.
Scratching that. I had a buddy who
Live on the Cam and Joe show. We're like, pepper spray.
That is the Kinetic.
Yeah.
And you can see it's been reused. It's got, you know, marks on it.
Oh yeah, no, I love this thing.
And that is another Kinetic. And you know where I learned how to load this magazine with this sequence, 2 Kinetics, and then going to your chemical rounds?
These are your tracers.
Well, if you have to pop the side of a window,
Sure,
or something like that,
this would break.
You know,
would this shatter a window?
It will.
Oh yeah,
side vehicle window at 30 feet. That's actually on that brochure as well.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and again, the manufacturer does an excellent job.
Yeah.
You know, in educating people, sharing use cases, everything else. You know, this is the chemical where it is a hollow, and you can actually see. There's some grooves.
You see us sneezing and coughing because he popped it.
Exactly.
But you know,
Oh yeah.
when you hit something with this, that hard candy shell breaks, and you get a cloud of, in this case, pepper and tear gas dust.
Ooh.
And so
You be careful there, Joe.
I've been on the receiving end of that. and you know, through accidental causes more than anything. And you know, so it's very good. But one of the reasons that they say load a couple kinetic rounds is if you're right up on someone, let's say, you know, the parking garage scenario.
Sure,
a lot of people are out shopping, you know, for the holidays and stuff like that. You're, you know, in a parking garage, or you're just, you know, out in the mall or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone's trying to be situationally aware. Everyone's trying to be on their A game, but they're also having fun.
Yeah.
You know, and so if someone, you know, starts approaching you, you have the ability to say, you know, hey, everything okay?
Sure.
You know, yeah, I just need to talk to you. Yeah, okay. I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Can you stop right there?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't know. I mean, if you have the ability to get in your vehicle, that might be a good thing, you know, but if you have family around you, you know, then you may be the sheepdog.
Yeah.
You know, and so in that scenario, you have a tool, you know, and we get into the weeds on that, but there's different techniques that make it even more effective.
Yeah.
You know, to my understanding, and if this is wrong, please edit it out.
You're good.
But the Byrna company has actually been around since 2003. And if I remember my dealer training correctly,
Sure.
They originally did military and law enforcement only.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
And then it was, I believe, 2017 that they actually started releasing civilian products. And those products have, you know, I mean, the versions that we have, we literally have had thousands of rounds through our pistols with 0 defect. And, you know, everyone's
awesome.
Everyone's reaction has been the same. I really like that. Yeah. So.
And it was hugely accurate. I mean, for a sphere, for that ballistic sphere, right? Unlike a traditional bullet, I was thinking it was going to kind of almost like a paintball.
Yeah.
Because unless you have rifling in your barrel, that thing's going to, you know, I was expecting that. Then I was like, okay. 30 clink, 30 clink. I'm like 40 clink. I'm like, whoa, okay, from 30 or 35 feet out, that was I mean, gosh, dead to rights. You can train, whether you're a Glock or SIG guy or whatever.
Yeah.
You can train to become better at your pistol with this.
Absolutely.
I mean, God. And then you can pick them all up and then reload it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm
a believer.
I also think it'll deal with fear because I got to shoot a video training of, they were pistol experts out at the Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys were flown in. And so there was one class that was mental. They would sit there and they would talk with them and help them deal with emotional triggers that was helping, like when they would go to pull the trigger, they would blink or how to deal with that. And then it was also accuracy with the pistol. And these guys from draw, pulling it right at chest, starting to trigger, and you're seeing it to where they're hitting accurate at 65, 70 feet away with a pistol. And so they were training. And so I got to film the training on it. But they were talking about when you're at home, try and do this. Like, they would practice the craft of it. And when I see this and when I use it, I'm like, you could get through a lot of hesitations with pulling the trigger.
Absolutely.
With all those fears, you could use that. I just think it's, as much as it's an amazing safety tool, I think it's as much as it's a
training tool.
I think it's training.
Yeah.
You're really helping a generation.
Yeah.
You're also able to help people go, hey, there's other ways, but here's why we even have them, because it is a deterring.
Yeah.
I don't know a person who owns guns that goes, I can't wait to hurt somebody with it.
Yeah.
And if they do, then they shouldn't.
Then they shouldn't have a gun.
No.
So, but that always leads into this being like, hey, this is an amazing option for you.
Yeah. It is, and the market for this is not just, in my opinion, it's not just for self-defense. The market for this is also for either the concealed carrier or just the gun enthusiast to get better at their craft.
Absolutely.
So it's hugely marketable, right? I am absolutely.
You're a believer?
I'm a believer. I'm a believer, and then I'll eventually be a consumer.
Yeah.
So Jay-Z Enterprises, if people want to order right now, if they want to get connected to you or they want to order, how do they get a hold of you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is just to text me at 530-418-8858.
Okay.
And
is there an email that we can
there is. It is Zemko, Zemko, at JZ, that's JAIZEY.com. Our website is under construction, so if you go there, it'll have some links and everything. But we are, again, this was not something that we planned on doing.
Sure.
But after we started showing it to people, and that really brings up a good point because, we started showing it to people and they were like, yeah, we want to get one of these. And even when we made our own purchase, there were things I wish I would have known and ways that I wish I would have packaged it for a better first experience.
Sure.
And so literally when we started thinking about, well, what would people need? And how could we structure this now as authorized dealers to give people a very good discount and earn their business as a value-added reseller.
Absolutely.
Offering demos and training. We've done over 200 demos.
That's amazing.
It's a lot of fun, and
all in your first year?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's
awesome.
I mean, we had it out here at the picnic, and they were like, yeah, please do it. We just had people lining up back to back to back and asking a lot of these same questions, and the thing is that other adage, an armed society is a polite society.
Yeah.
And so if Northern California has a lot of Byrna, owners, then it is going to make it a more accountable society, and people are going to be more situationally aware and help each other out in a less lethal mannerism.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that have made some wrong choices in life, and they don't have the ability to carry a firearm.
Yeah.
Very good point.
And they have found out that's because this is not a firearm, because there's no licensing, because you can't conceal it. They have the ability to purchase tools to protect their family where they did not before.
That's awesome.
It's very, very powerful.
That's awesome.
So
I'm so glad you took the time to be on the show today, man.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate
Enjoy
it. That was awesome. Was that not so cool?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a believer. Seek this guy out, check the website out, and we're going to make sure to put the phone number in there as well.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks
you,
for
brother.
being, I appreciate it.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
coming, not having us.
What?
I'm weird.
Come on now. Drink your coffee.
Cat! Thank you for checking out the Cam and Joe Show.
If you guys are liking our content so far, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also listen to us on Spotify.